Witch's Wake is a Neverwinter Nights premium module that was available for download as part of the premium module program. It was eventually included in the Kingmaker box set in 2004. Rob Bartel was its primary writer. Its plot and ideas drew a lot of comparisons to the game of Planescape Torment. Only one of the 5 intended sections was released before Wizards of the Coast changed their premium module standards, allowing only those based in the Forgotten Realms to be released. Unfortunately, the other portions were unable to be provided, either through official means or through free content. Witch's Wake begins with a cutscene of us dying on a battlefield, with the prince of our kingdom dying beside us. Following a brief conversation, the prince dies, and the screen fades to black. We wake up with no knowledge of why we're here or what happened.
Dark and still beneath your lidded eyes. Your head aches, and your mouth is dry and wooden. You lie there, too sore to move, the prince's voice still echoing from across some distant void. Suddenly you feel the touch of human hands. They scurry like rats across your body, and you feel a tugging as they reach your finger. The breeze fills with a muttered curse and the scrape of metal.
I like how this module is solely voiced by one narrator. Normally I might not like this in certain big-budget titles, but it fits here perfectly and sets the overall tone that we are playing a tabletop game being run by a real dungeon master. Rob had this to say about choosing a narrator instead of a cast of voice actors. I deliberately set the tone as one of psychological horror to ensure an emotional impact. The choice to go with a narrator was to help keep that tone consistent, but also to reduce the voice acting costs. There's a minimum cost to each actor you add, and there simply weren't enough lines in such a short, free module for the traditional approach to be viable. Kingmaker and Shadowguard, on the other hand, were able to piggyback on the voice recordings for the expansions. So I took a limitation and turned it into a strength that went a long way toward shaping the unique feel of the module. I also enjoy the new music track that was added in with the content. It sets a real glooming atmosphere for the module's setting and adds to the overall dismal, death-ridden environment. An elderly lady combing through the corpses instructs us to seek out the Night Hag. From there, we travel briefly through various rural locations before arriving at a graveyard crypt. On our way, we explore the embattled cavern, a cave where kobolds and goblins seem to be in a constant state of battle. Unlike the core campaigns, the enemies continually spawn, and health kits are a bit more difficult to come by in this campaign. So I didn't stay in there for too long before continuing my journey to the graveyard crypt. At the crypt, we were able to read some of the tombstones, padding out the lore of this module. Inside, we finally meet the Night Hag. Early in the conversation, the Night Hag will ask us to draw 2 cards. Every time we draw a card, we receive experience, but the cards are random and don't appear to imply anything yet. After we've drawn the cards, the Night Hag will inform us she has the ability to defend us from the Stygian lords, and will instruct us to touch the adjacent ethereal leak. Following that, the Night Hag will transport us to the Plane of Sorrows, a realm over which she rules and where we shall henceforth go when we die. When we return, the Night Hag will instruct us to find a man in the dwarven town of Brogan's Arm, and that the Kavanaugh Stone will direct us to him. But she won't tell us the man's name, only that he is dressed in the king's uniform, and she won't tell us what the Kavanaugh Stone is either. After our discussion, we set off to the village of Brogan's Arm through the southern pass. We then approach a temple where a zombie warrior attacks us. Although he is strong, we are able to attract some kobolds, who also don't seem to be particularly fond of the zombies. After dispatching all of them, we continue our journey to the village of Brogan's arm. When we enter the village, upon talking with a few citizens roaming about the town, about the Kavanaugh Stone, they direct us to the town's guild hall, where there is a whole exhibit that gives the background story surrounding the town and the stone. However, upon talking to the dwarf lady who manages the guild hall, she decides to charge us 50 gold to enter the exhibit. We're a little bit short on cash, and our persuasion skill is not particularly high, so we decide to explore this small world a little more to see what we can do to earn enough money to enter. We backtrack to the temple area and enter Merewood, a forest infested with respawning zombies. I'm able to farm and loot the bodies of the zombies, enough to where I can sell the clothes and weapons on their bodies to the local blacksmith, which helps us finally earn our 50 gold to enter the exhibit area of the guild hall. Inside the museum, we learn about the dwarf Brogan, who led a large tribe of dwarfs. In his endeavors to expand his clan, he accidentally reached the Styx, causing creatures to flood into the clan and forcing him to collapse his clan hold in order to escape. In his pursuit of power, he later struck a bargain with a devil from the Styx. However, before he could return to his new clan hold, he was ambushed by several enormous dragons and ripped apart. The dwarves were forced to the surface, giving origin to the new settlement. The dwarven mining business continues to this day. We spend some additional time prying around the town and come across a magic shop run by the dwarf, Old Man Nimmermare. When we ask Nimmermare about the Kavanaugh Stone, he reveals that his well goes to the Barrow site, where it is stored. With that information, we use his well to get to Brogan's Tears. Upon entering Brogan's Tears, we encounter a ratling and discover that he used to be Baron Androlith before being cursed by a warlock, and that he was cursed because of his devotion to us. We ask him to join us, but he tells us that he won't because he feels that he will be a burden and slow us down. He continues to stay where he is, aggroing any nearby rats, and we decide to continue on. We continue on in this small maze-like area, encountering some more rat enemies before making our way back up to the Barrow site, the only way to enter it, since the above-ground entrances have been blocked.
Of water seems to shimmer beneath you as you climb. You suddenly realize that the water is running uphill towards the dim light you see above you. Dripping with the warm, foul-smelling water, you emerge with a gasp. Something's wrong. You can feel it, like a current of electricity arcing through your bones. Time itself seems to stand still. You are in the Barrow site, Brogan's Tears welling up before you. Beyond, you can see a small cairn where his arm must once have rested. The altar that once held the Kavanaugh Stone lies barren. "Seize them!" cries a commanding voice. "Seize the foreigner! If they've come this far, they know too much."
We encounter several angry dwarves upon our exit, and are immediately thrown into the Steinfar iron mine. We finally are able to meet up with a man that we have been searching for, known to us as Cauldrian Ire. We hear that he has been having some memory issues as well, but that he has been taking notes to remind himself of things. He tells us that he stole the Kavanaugh Stone and stashed it somewhere secure, and reveals to us that while serving our king, we were hired for the purpose of being witch hunters. An intriguing plot twist. And then with that, the module just ends. Overall, I enjoyed the amount of work the writer did to create such an engaging backstory for this module. After finishing the campaign, I went on Game Banshee and saw how many small things I happened to overlook while playing through this module. This short chapter encourages you to explore every nook and cranny that this small world has to offer. While there are some combat encounters to be had in this module, a lot of the experience is gained through engaging with unique dialogue with NPCs and reading and interacting with anything that might be a point of interest. I can't help but think how good this module could have been if it was actually completed. Instead, we get a module that serves as a really strong Chapter 1 that introduces us to this new campaign setting, complete with lore and world building. And as quickly as it arrives, it vanishes, never to be explored further. It's a true shame, as there was so much potential for this piece of content to supersede the storytelling in the core modules, but never was fully completed, due to the 180 the Wizards of the Coast made, from doing anything but Forgotten Realms content to nothing but Forgotten Realms content. This almost feels like a scenario where the DM shows up for one session before realizing that their real-life schedule conflicts too much with things, and so the party disbands, never able to see the campaign to its conclusion. So, to summarize things, is this premium module worth trying? I would say if you are willing to be disappointed by its abrupt ending and are willing to play around with it for 2 to 3 hours, it's worth seeing how it plays out. If you want an experience that feels like a complete package with a beginning, middle, and ending, it's probably a waste of your time. Again, I wish I could highly recommend this, but in the end, there is not a whole lot here except a lot of unexplored potential. Thanks for watching. Please, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more classic RPG content. I'll catch you in the next one.